Hi, welcome back to another episode of Live from My Parents' Basement. This week is our Halloween special. I sat down with Wyatt LeGrand and a Mr. Scooby-Doo, aka Isaac Combs, to talk about our favorite Halloween movies, scary movies, horror movies, parts that have scared us the most. Just any type of horror movie, scary movie stuff we talk about. We had a really fun time doing this, so I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. All right. Well, here we are with the Halloween special of Live from My Parents' Basement. It seems we have another person coming, but it looks like he's a little late. I'll go ahead and start introductions. I am Bo the Bandit Darville. Back in the 70s, I smuggled some beer from Texarkana over to Atlanta. You know, we had to head east. The boys were thirsty, so I had to get them that beer. And then, who's this fellow with the furry brown face?
I may be familiar, but I am Scooby-Doo from Mystery Incorporated.
What is that? So what's your job title?
Professional investigator and Scooby snack eater.
Okay. I'm still wondering where the other guy was. Oh, it looks like this is it right here.
Sorry, guys. I was running a little bit late. Good to see you.
Oh, yeah.
Who do we got here?
I'm running a little behind, so my costume isn't the best, but I wore my scariest shirt. I don't know if you can see. It's got a skeleton on it. It's got a skeleton. You know, I like the Grateful Dead. It's a skeleton. It's spooky. You know, I don't know. So sorry I didn't come with a better costume on. I'm just here. You guys have mustache hats and Scooby-Doo. Heck, here I am, just old me with a weird shirt on.
Oh man. Well, I appreciate having you, Mr. South Park LeGrand version, and Mr. Doo. I think we can go ahead and get started with our episode. I figured since Halloween is coming up, I figured we could talk about our favorite movies to watch during this time, or scary movies, or just favorite horror movies in general. And if either of you want to start, go right ahead.
I'll let Isaac start. You guys get a good start, okay?
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. So for me, I think number one would probably be Monster House. That is a Scooby-Doo favorite and Combs' household favorite.
Nice.
And so pretty much any slasher kind of movies, so Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. And then Beetlejuice, which I just watched last week. And the Evil Dead movies, Edward Scissorhands. I think that's like a Christmas and Halloween type movie. And pretty much any kind of Tim Burton movies, like Sleepy Hollow is great. And then kind of a sleeper movie is Coraline. Yeah. I think that's a creepy movie. And then pretty much like the old like Goosebumps series and like R.L. Stine stuff. So that's pretty much it for me.
That Coraline, that taking a drink. Now Coraline, that's probably like one of my favorite animated movies in general.
Yeah, it's great and like really creepy too for like an animated movie.
For a kids movie, it is very creepy, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, really good movie though. On my list, I guess just pure like Halloween movies. I forgot about Beetlejuice. That's probably is my favorite. But another two are the Addams Family movies from the early '90s with like Raul Julia. They're just, I don't know, they're really funny and silly, and I watched them again recently, and they have like that PG dark humor but it's still funny, and I really like. We like the part where like they're doing backflips, him and Christopher Lloyd, he's Dexter in that movie, and they're doing like this Russian called the Mamushka. I don't know, I eat that. Me and my little brother eat that up. We love it. In the way of horror movies, I don't really go wrong with like The Shining. I'm in the middle of watching that actually. That is such a creepy movie. It's not outwardly scary, but the music and the way it's set up and framed and filmed. It's great. It really is. So, Mr. LeGrand, what have you?
Yeah. Let's see. You mentioned. Sorry, guys. Got a frog in my throat. The Shining is definitely one of my favorites. So, again, not super scary, really, or like horror movie, but it gives me the creeps for sure. Whenever I was younger, I remember a few particular Halloween movies or Halloween horror movies that really, really got me. One of them was Scream.
Oh yeah.
And that's just because I was like of a certain age whenever that came out, and it had a lot of gore in it, and it was really popular. So I remember that one. I also remember the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty cool movie. Never really watched it all the way through. Got nauseated, from the camera work. But I think that's kind of established a certain type of filming horror movies. I forget what you call that. You probably know the term for.
Is it? I think it's like lost footage or found footage horror movies. They became like a big thing.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Silence of the Lambs.
Great movie.
Love that one. Love that movie. And I had a few others on my honorable mentions. One of them being, it's not the Coraline movie you just mentioned, but it's the one like it that came out before it. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
That's a really cool movie, and always really like that. And again, like the whole Halloween Christmas movie thing, like with Edward Scissorhands, that I think that's a cool dynamic. Mm-hmm. I remember whenever I was younger playing basketball for the Boys and Girls Club in Bedford, Indiana, going to like a Burger King afterwards, and they had Nightmare Before Christmas watches, and that was like a big deal. And now I'm on the pursuit of getting like a cheap plastic Nightmare Before Christmas watch from 1990, whatever. But the thing that scared the crap out of me the most, by far, was a television show called Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay. I've not seen that.
Specifically, aliens.
Okay.
Aliens scare me. Scare me to death.
Yeah. Have you seen the old the Alien movies with like Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah, and I thought about like mentioning that too, but yeah, that was scary. Alien was.
I think it's really tense. Like for me with my science fiction, I'm pretentious, and I like the stuff that's sort of like, I like sci-fi that's creepy or sort of like supposed to be philosophical, and I think Alien has always hit that soft spot, that sweet spot for me. So I really enjoy the first Alien. Now, Isaac, you like the second one better, right?
Yeah, I do. Just because it's more like kind of up my alley with like sci-fi action, and plus I love James Cameron's movies too. So I think he just kind of just up the notch with that movie. But if people like the original better, I completely understand why. But I'm just more partial to James Cameron.
It was funny the other day. I was watching this video with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he kept referring to James Cameron as Jim Cameron. I just thought that was
I saw we just had a second open heart surgery this week or something.
Wait.
Arnold Schwarzenegger did.
All those roids.
Yeah, starting to catch up with him.
And then going back to, I guess, Silence of the Lambs, LeGrand, have you seen Red Dragon?
Oh, yeah. That's part of that whole line of Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, saw that one.
I actually, no one will agree with me. I think it's better than Silence of the Lambs. I think it's definitely creepier. I think the Tooth Fairy, the serial killer in it, Francis Dollar Hyde. I think he's a fascinating character. It's the guy who plays Voldemort that plays him, Ray Fiennes. He's great in that. I really do like Red Dragon better than Silence of the Lambs. Controversial, bold, but I really do enjoy that movie.
Yeah, he's definitely a scary character, and not quite as like Hannibal Lecter likes to eat people. We know that from the beginning. And then like this guy, what was his name in the movie?
Wait, it was the Tooth Fairy. He'd like bite everyone. Like leave.
Oh yeah. I guess it just wasn't quite as obvious. And was that the one that had the William Blake painting in it that he ate? Was that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like that historical little tidbit there. I think that was a real picture. So.
Well, and I always like in movies to where, even in that, they do it in a lot of movies. I like to where it's like, whatever's going on, someone's crazy or whatever. I like the movies to where it's always alluded to. It's like, well, it's the devil speaking to them, just like, you know, the thing there is. Because like in that movie, I've actually did some research on that. The painting, it was called like the late, I don't know. Anyway, the dragon in that picture is supposed to represent the devil. So it's like in the movie, he might be speaking to the devil. And even in The Shining, it talks about selling your soul for a glass of whiskey or bourbon or something. So I really like that in movies to where it's sort of alluded to. You know, just it's like, and all of it is just coming from someone being possessed, or I don't know. I like that. I think that's always fun.
Yeah. I love that scene in The Shining where he goes to like the ballroom and has the drink. Like that's super creepy. And he goes to the bathroom and meets the guy that whatever his name was that murdered his family. And that scene in particular is the creepy one for me. What about did you guys ever see Poltergeist?
Well, which one?
Well, that brings up an interesting point because today I was thinking about this topic, and on television there was a Poltergeist, and I'm like, what? That's how appropriate. I was going to talk about that, but it was a new one. I didn't know there was a new one. But I'm talking about the old one. It must have been from like the late 80s, early 90s, maybe. I'm not sure exactly.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have too. It's been a while, but yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I really like that one. I think there's a couple of scenes in that really freaked me out as a kid. Yeah. I think there was a scene with a mirror where like a face melted or something like that. Mm-hmm. Am I thinking correctly, or am I thinking of like Indiana Jones?
That is
yeah.
Indiana Jones.
I think maybe it happened in both of them. So Indiana Jones and in Poltergeist, somebody's face melted, and that scared me to death. Speaking of Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Yep.
That's pretty. There's some pretty scary elements in that.
Yes.
Shoot. I don't know. Like even I guess like the part with like Indiana Jones getting possessed. I guess that's not creepy, but it's just weird because he's going around trying to kill Short Round or whatever.
Yeah.
And too, when he's like reaching into the guy's heart to pull his heart out.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that. I think Isaac, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we were younger, I couldn't do it, but didn't like kids in our grade used to like do that and then like squeeze their heart in their hand and then like make a sound in their throat like a heart was beating.
Yeah, I think like me and Ethan Fitch were very prominent for doing that in class.
I remember how in classes we would do the Terminator theme, just knocking on a desk.
Yes.
Be like,
I do it anywhere I could, and then other classmates too would communicate back with me by doing it.
No, good time. I guess something that freaked me out. I'm a chicken, but self-proclaimed, so I don't like horror movies in general. But whenever I saw it in 2017, I like whenever it had. If you haven't seen it, whatever. If you don't want to know what happens, don't listen to this part. I guess spoilers. But very beginning, the little boy he like reaches into the sewer drain and Pennywise, his mouth just opens like 10 feet and he rips off this little boy's arm, and the little boy's like screaming and crying. The parallel there was too much because his older brother was more or less my age, and this little boy was about my brother's age. Seeing this little boy get his arm ripped off and then drug into the sewers to be eaten, hit a little close to home for me, and I was sitting there like in shock in the movie theater going like couldn't do it, hated it. Pretty good movie, but that scared the pee-wee out of me. Hated that.
I think for me when I was a kid, the first time I watched The Shining, the part that got me the most was in Jack Nicholson's in the hotel room and he sees the lady in the shower and then she turns into like this disfigured, burnt person. That I think that freaked me out the most when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And of course, my dad made me watch it in the basement with the lights turned off for the first time too, so I got the full effect.
But Dad always said that he thinks the Blair Witch is terrifying, and he's always said he's wanted to watch that out in the woods late at night, just to watch the Blair Witch. I've seen the end of it. It is pretty creepy, but I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot scarier if I watched the whole movie. I've never seen them, but I know it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Saw movies?
I get it. I think I might have seen most of the first one. I think it's just more like torture porn and stuff, just people getting violently murdered. I'm all for whatever, but I haven't really seen them.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that whenever it came out. It was probably when I was still in high school, and the whole premise of it was kind of interesting, and it was super graphic, super gory, and it had my attention. And I've never been really like the typical chop 'em up like horror movie fan, like never really been into that. But that one got my attention a little bit because everybody was talking about it. Everybody wanted to go see it in the theaters. And then whenever the second one came out, it was like a big deal. Everybody wanted to go and see it. It was like an unrated movie at the movie theater. Like they had to check your ID for you to go and watch it and stuff like that. But then I think it was either the second one or the third, because they have like 10 of them now or something, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch. The second or third one I watched, like, this is just getting silly. Like, it was just like gore for the sake of gore, and it wasn't like the whole idea behind it had diminished quite a bit, so I lost interest.
I do think it's like a really neat premise, though. Like at least one, I think that's a really cool premise of just like, here's all these things, and your decisions will depend on if you're horribly maimed or someone else is killed or your head is just blown up. I think that's a neat.
There was one. It might have been the second or third movie is when I stopped watching because there was a scene where the bad guy that designed all of these games for people to play and determine their fate, he was like being hunted down by the police or somebody, and they decided that they would raid, I guess, like his factory where he's making everything. And in retaliation, he like shot at somebody or like tried to stab somebody. Something happened. And then I was like, well, that ruined it all because he wasn't ever the person to do the murdering. He let people, well, he did do the murdering. He made the machines and whatnot, but he never actually did it with his own hands. And that kind of ruined everything whenever that scene happened, I thought.
Yeah.
But I could be remembering it incorrectly.
I have no way to prove what you're saying. So I don't know.
Whenever I think of the Saw movies, there's a spoof. I think it's Scary Movie 3 or 4. But the opening scene is Dr. Phil and Shaq are the ones locked up in the traps. And I think it's Shaq is chopping off his leg, but he chops off the wrong one that's not tied up to a shackle. So when I think of Saw, I always think of that part right there, just because it's Dr. Phil and Shaquille O'Neal are the ones who are trapped.
What? Why was that in a Saw movie?
No, it's like a spoof of the movie. It's Scary Movie 3 or 4. It's like a parody franchise, pretty much, that makes fun of like horror movies, pretty much.
Oh, okay. That would be funny.
It's so funny that he chopped off the wrong leg.
Yeah.
Shaq's funny. Like, everything Shaq does is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the Papa John's commercials or whatever. Like the general. Like, you can't have the television on and not see him on television, like, for a commercial. And he's always hilarious.
There was a few months ago, it was over the summer, they were doing Inside the NBA, which is a whole nother entity. You know, it's basketball analytics, but it's pretty much just like a funny talk show because it's just Charles Barkley and Shaq and Ernie Johnson and Kenny Smith. But they were doing a Zoom one, and when the episode ended, Shaq either intentionally or unintentionally got up too early because he thought it was done. He had done the entire thing in his underwear, so you see him get up and he's just in like his striped underwear as the episode of Inside the NBA's ending. I lost it. That was
That's funny.
I've never seen a scary movie, but I've seen a scary movie clip on YouTube. It was like it was probably 2005 or so because it was spoofing Signs. But Charlie Sheen was in it, and he walked in his room to find his daughter like is scared, and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" You know, Charlie Sheen is nuts. And it turns out it's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So Charlie Sheen starts fighting Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson's going like hee hee, and like doing the splits and doing dances. Well, at one point, like for some reason, Charlie Sheen grabs Michael Jackson's crotch, and Michael Jackson starts laughing. And
yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's a great scene.
It's just funny. And then he jumps out the window, and for some reason, it's like he's out the window, and Charlie Sheen grabs his like back of his neck, and it was just like a skin suit, like Michael Jackson just in like a skin suit. But
yeah. There's also another part of the movie with Michael Jackson where it's when like the aliens whatever are invading the Earth, and like he's like with a group of little kids like trying to convince them like to come with them that he will protect them and save them. So that was pretty funny.
Oh gosh. So Isaac, you have LeGrand. Have you seen any of the Evil Dead movies?
No.
Oh, those are cool.
Those are awesome.
The third one, like Army of Darkness, I got a poster of it. That's new. Because it started out as like a straight horror movie. Evil Dead 2 is sort of it's kind of a remake of the first one, but it's also silly. That one is not scary at all. It's just funny, hilarious. I mean, the poster, Bruce Campbell has like an 8-pack. He's the normal looking guy in the movie. So in and of itself, but it's like a good, like Isaac said, just a good movie to watch at Halloween or any time of the year. Good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, hey, can we talk briefly about Halloween costumes?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to have a really good one, and I really dropped the ball this time, of course.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
You mean this shirt?
Yeah, the shirt. Like.
Yeah, it is a scary shirt. It is a scary shirt for sure.
Yeah, haircut.
But, really, I didn't do so well. But what's been your best Halloween costume ever?
Ooh. I think I'll start. I think for me, this is when I was young. I was just obsessed with the Terminator, and I bought this mask that was half Arnold's face, and the other half was the Terminator. Then I got this like plastic-looking black jacket, so I went as the Terminator one year.
That's awesome.
Like 11 or 10, maybe.
Isaac, I always remembered your family always had good homemade outfits. I remember Eli once went as Rubik's Cube.
Yep.
I think one year it was like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, our whole family dressed up as the Wizard of Oz characters, and I was Tin Man.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Mine, without a doubt, when I was probably 10, I went as Joe Dirt. I mean, it was like spot on. I had the plaid shirt with the sleeves cut out. I had to wear an undershirt underneath it because it was cold. But I found a mullet, with the sideburns. I had the goatee. I mean, it was so. It looked. I didn't look like David Spade, but I at least looked like Joe Dirt, the entity. But that was great. It wouldn't be surprising to me if my mom, that's like currently her Facebook profile picture is me as Joe Dirt. That's usually something.
That's funny. Well, just for your audience, Sammy, can you verify that mustache is indeed real?
It is real. I have dyed it because I am a vain man and I care too much about vanity. My mustache was too blonde, so I've decided to dye it closer to my hair color, and it's really popping today. It really is.
It looks amazing. It looks really good.
Thank you. That really means a lot because I can grow a beard pretty well. And, it's pretty brown. It's blondish, but still mainly brownish red through here. And then my mustache is like blonde as can be. And a few weeks ago, friend of the show, Adam, who actually can't make it, he's sick right now, so I'm hoping he's doing okay. He told me, he's like, yeah, Sammy, stinks you don't have a full mustache. And I was like, I do. No, I do actually. Like, you just can't see it. That was part of it. It's just like, I'll show him.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I have the same problem. I don't know if you can tell here, but my mustache is actually fairly blonde as well. It's pretty blonde. And then my beard gets a little red at the bottom. So I'm right there with you, bud.
My vanity got in the way. But yes, it is real. It's just a darker shade of brown. It is darker than my beard, I think, but it's closer to like the inner layers of my hair. I've taken hair like from back, because my hair is long, from like the inner layers that aren't seeing the sun as much, and I've pulled it down, and it is close to my actual hair color. So no one's noticed because I don't think anyone ever knew I had a mustache in the first place. So fine with me. It's working out for the most part.
It kind of makes that cowboy hat seem like something you should wear all the time.
Well, see, the problem is I ordered this. It was the cheapest one I could find that resembled what Burt Reynolds wore. And I even measured my head to get the right size and everything. It is gigantic on my head. So I've actually had to take some, what's it called, paper towels and put them in there so it actually fits my head.
Oh.
But one day when I live in Texas or New Mexico or Arizona, this will probably be what I'm wearing. I want to. Yeah. I bought a pair of cowboy boots and I'm wearing them right now, even though you can't see them. I'm all in on this.
That's awesome. Well, believe it or not, having a hat that's too big, not that big of a deal. The problem is whenever you have a head this big, I have a horrible time trying to find a hat that fits. It's really rough. So, I think it looks good. Looks like it fits.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot. And then
sure.
You have on like a prison jumper with that?
Yeah, I think right here it says dog. Because I think this was Peter's kind of outfit. So I just ran down in the basement and grabbed it. But like it's really tight and like the pants go down to my shins, so like it's really short on me. But you can't see it obviously because it's not in the camera.
What did Scooby-Doo go to prison for?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Probably some illegal Scooby snacks of some kind, some street.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, Adam. I was hoping Adam could be on here today. Friend of the show, Adam Dean. He's been on here a lot. I was hoping he would come as Dale Gribble from King of the Hill, but he didn't. He likes to think he looks like Pablo Escobar from Narcos. I had to break it to him that he doesn't, because he just doesn't in any way. But
he should have just came as Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, we did. He does look like Matt Damon from Contagion. but he like finds that offensive, movie star, beloved movie star Matt Damon. Adam's like, oh, damn it, I don't want to look like him. Okay.
Well, given the circumstances and with the pandemic and everything, that would have been the perfect costume ever.
It would have been. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, this is probably the most excited I've been to dress up in, I don't know, 12 years. When I turned to like 8 or 9, maybe even, well, whatever the last year I went as Joe Dirt, that was pretty much the last year my enthusiasm to dress up at Halloween was high. Ever since then, it's been waning a lot. But this year, it was, I think we watched Smokey and the Bandit in July, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I just got the idea. I was like, I'm dressing up as the Bandit for Halloween. It's easy. It'll look cool.
Well, I did have a few other ideas that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And the first one was I was going to be just like this, just regular old Wyatt. Okay. Instead of going scary, though, with the scary shirt like I'm doing today, I was going to be just myself, just like this, but with the sombrero. Because sombreros with a head this big is the only kind of hat that fits. And then I was going to be just man in sombrero. And I thought that was really funny. But then I had a better idea, but it got shut down. I ran this past several people, and I was going to, again, just dress normal, be myself, because I don't dress up. I'm just myself. And then I was going to just randomly throughout the podcast break out this blender I have and then try to sell it like a salesman on QVC or on like late night like infomercials, like the samurai chopper. And I had this whole plan. I wasn't dressing up, but I was gonna act my role. Yeah. And I was gonna chop up a flip flop. I was gonna chop up like a frozen ham. I was gonna chop up everything, and then just go back to normal and just sit there. And then maybe I'd have like a telephone number like across the screen, like call for the samurai or something. Yeah. But I was told that wasn't really dressing up. And because of that, I should pick something else. So, again, today I dressed up. I just wore this silly Grateful Dead shirt.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, so, sorry. I mean.
Well, I don't know. I mean, did you get a haircut or something? I think you look slightly different.
Well, it does feel a little thinner in back.
Oh, man. I was just thinking about this. Me and Isaac's friend, Brennan Hughes, he has one of those 3D printers. He has made like the Mandalorian, Isaac, the Star Wars show.
Yeah.
A Mandalorian, and like that looks like, it sort of looks like Boba Fett's helmet, but it looks amazing. And I don't know what he's doing, but I hope somehow he's making that whole costume and is going to wear it at some point, because it looks what he could do with that.
Yeah, it looked really good, and we showed me pictures of it.
Yeah. I remember it was on his story, and I messaged him about it. He's like, yeah, it took a while and stuff, but I thought that was really neat. So, pretty cool. Oh, Isaac, shoot. Eric Andre comes out tonight.
Oh, what time is it? What time does it start?
I think it's midnight, so I don't know if it'll be on Hulu or Adult Swim.
It'll probably be on Hulu like tomorrow, maybe after it airs or something like that. So I'll probably watch it tomorrow.
I am so excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
The funniest show I've seen.
Fargo.
Oh crap! We got Fargo. I got Fargo tonight to watch. Looking forward to that. Great show, Isaac. You got Hulu, man. Fargo's where it's at.
Is it the movie or TV show or both?
I would watch the movie first, then watch the TV show. I think the movie's on Amazon Prime at the moment.
Okay, yeah, because I saw it's by one of the Coen brothers did it.
They made the movie and they've helped produce this show, so it feels exactly like the movie. and it feels just
cool.
Other movies. So it feels like The Big Lebowski and No Country for Old Men, and it's Noah Hawley, who created it, nailed it. But
sweet, yeah.
Dude, definitely watch it. That's LeGrand's favorite show. It's really good. The fourth season that's currently on has Chris Rock and Jason Schwartzman and Timothy Oliphant, and I forgot the other guys, but great show. It's on tonight. I think episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, we talked a lot on the last podcast about it. Favorite show, Fargo by far. Close second, South Park.
Well, I have a timer going on my thing because since we don't have the paid version, we're about to run out of time. It's been great having you guys on here, Mr. Dew, Mr. LeGrand. I am Bo Darville, who's taken over for Sammy this week on the podcast. I am also known as the Bandit. But I think we'll just wrap things up. Again, yeah, thanks you guys for coming on. I've had a great time.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.